This is a breaking news alert. Iran just launched a surprise attack in a wave of ballistic missiles at U.S. forces in the Middle East, with a direct hit being reported on the Muwafiq Salti air base in Jordan just minutes ago. This is the same air base where 3 U.S. service members were killed in action last week. This breaks the 5 consecutive night pause of strikes and breaks the temporary ceasefire. A source close to MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader, is saying that this was done in advance of what Iran believed were plans by the United States and Israel to strike Iran following Netanyahu's meeting with Donald Trump earlier today. Now, moments ago, U.S. officials confirmed that the IRGC launched multiple ballistic missiles from Iran in an attempted surprise attack on U.S. forces. Now, CENTCOM is claiming that there were no direct hits and that all of the U.S. interceptors stopped the Iranian ballistic missiles. However, from the footage that we've seen, it does appear that there were some direct strikes at this U.S. base in Jordan. We can see the direct hit taking place right over here. Here's the statement that just came from U.S. Central Command. At 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time today, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces launched multiple ballistic missiles from Iran in an attempted surprise attack on U.S. forces based in the Middle East. All Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted, according to CENTCOM, although that's not what we've been able to observe. U.S. forces remain vigilant and at a high state of readiness. Now, the price of crude shot up over 5% in just the past hour alone as a result of these ballistic missile strikes. Again, approaching $90 a barrel. And that was after Donald Trump was manipulating the markets and saying that everything was going great. Iran wants to make a deal. Things are absolutely amazing. Again, we can see over here confirmed it appears Iran launched ballistic missiles at this U.S. base in Jordan. This is according to U.S. officials right here. And this is following Donald Trump's meeting with Netanyahu earlier today. Now, basically at the same time that was taking place, we saw these massive airstrikes taking place in Iraq just now. Take a look at these massive strikes there. Smoke is rising out of southern Iraq, and CENTCOM just issued a statement. Let me read it to you. U.S. Central Command and the Saudi Arabian Armed Forces conducted precision strikes in Iraq July 28th against Iran-aligned terrorists, is how CENTCOM frames it, that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps directed to attack U.S. forces and Saudi energy infrastructure. U.S. and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple terrorists, that's how they're referring to it, logistics and weapon sites across eastern Iraq in a strong response to over 30 IRGC directed aerial drone attacks in the last 72 hours. The unwarranted attacks against U.S. forces were not successful. From February through April 2026, there were more than 600 attempted attacks on U.S. citizens and facilities by Iran-aligned terrorist militias in Iraq. The IRGC and its terrorist proxies must cease these attacks to avoid further U.S. military responses. Now, previously, the Iran-backed militias in Iraq said that they were not attacking Saudi Arabia. Actually, the Houthis in Yemen said, we did it. They came out there and said, we did it. Then they showed video and they said, here are our ballistic missiles and drones that we're shooting at you, Saudi Arabia, because you attacked the Sana'a air base. The Houthis said, we did it. Us, watch. I've showed you the videos of the Houthis showing them releasing the ballistic missiles and the Shahi drones and other FPV drones. Remember, the Houthis successfully struck multiple refineries in Saudi Arabia. We showed you what those looked like. The Aramco facility in Yanbu on the west. We showed you the Abak oil processing facility all the way in the east by the Persian Gulf. And also, other facilities were struck as well by the Houthis. Now, it's just fascinating that the Saudi Arabian defense is saying we attacked Iraq, not the Houthis in Yemen. And many are believing that's because The Saudi Arabia doesn't want to get into a larger battle against the Houthis in Yemen. The Saudi defense minister moments ago said, "We are not seeking escalation and we will not respond to any aggression." Now, while it is unclear, it does appear, at least as of now, the strikes on the Jordan base occurred first, and then the strikes on Iraq happened next by the United States and Saudi Arabia, although they seem to have been happening very, very similar in time. Moments ago, Donald Trump posted photos of himself and Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office today. You can zoom in there and see Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Donald Trump says, "Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, along with myself and representatives, had a very good meeting. Obviously, many important subjects were being discussed." Then at the funeral for Lindsey Graham, the very deranged funeral that I covered earlier today, it was very strange to observe Marco Rubio and Hegseth listening to Netanyahu, and it appeared Netanyahu was giving them orders now, or it was clearly whatever Netanyahu was saying, he was the one instructing the United States Secretary of State and Defense Secretary here what to do, and they kind of looked very sheepish in the presence of Netanyahu. Again, a strange, objectively strange sight to behold. I want you to watch for yourself here what went down. Let's play this clip. Now, Donald Trump moments ago just posted on various social media platforms on official White House accounts the following: "Finish the fight." This is a video that they just posted moments ago as oil prices are now going back up, as there has been this, again, escalation. Look, we've been saying, as Donald Trump's been saying, we're doing a deal. They want to do a deal. We're talking very strongly. I'm like, Iran's saying they're not talking. Iran's in a war posture because you've spent the past 13 days attacking Iran, and then you backed out in the last 2 days. And Iran's made it clear through Garibaldi, their deputy foreign minister, and others. They said, we've had no communications with the United States about them stopping. They stopped on their own. So they stopped on their own and we stopped on our own. And then we're getting that other data point from a source close to MB Ghalibaf, who seemed to indicate the reason for Iran strikes is they believe something was cooking from that Netanyahu and Trump meeting earlier today that they wanted to get ahead of. Here was the finish the fight video. I'll play it that Donald Trump just posted. And then, of course, earlier today, Donald Trump called into state regime media Fox, and they asked him, who do you claim you're speaking with in Iran? Who do you say you're talking with? Let's play this clip.
But Iran has come out publicly and said, we're not talking to the U.S. We're going to pause as long as they're pausing.
We are talking a little while ago because...
So could you tell me who you're talking to, Mr. President?
For some reason, we can be in the midst of a beautiful discussion, and they'll come out and say, we're not talking, or we didn't discuss nuclear. Well, that's all we discussed because they'll never have a nuclear weapon. They understand that. And we have had some very good talks, and very interesting with Lindsey. He was very much a hawk, as you would say, on Iran. And over the last few weeks, I would say that he became like, if you could make a deal, it's better making a deal in this case than just destroying the rest of the country. We've destroyed most of it, frankly. But he was somebody that said it's a good time to make a deal, nice time to make a deal.
What does a good deal look like?
Now, I wouldn't say necessarily he feels that way about Ukraine. He's very militant about. I mean, Lindsey liked war, to be honest with you. Okay, I said, you're a nice guy. How come you like war so much? He was a guy that liked war.
And then Donald Trump said, Iran better make a deal with me or else. If they don't make a deal, I'm going to blow up their bridges, desalination facilities. I'm going to just destroy their civilization. If they don't make a deal, then Iran's response is basically, we're not going to respond to threats of genocide and war crimes. And so, no, we reject. We're not talking to you at all. We're not having, and then Professor Morandi, who's part of the Iranian negotiating team, he's like, look, we're ready for all out war. We want all out war if this is what you're going to threaten us with. We're prepared for all out war. Here's what Trump said, though. Let's play this clip.
This is actually a good time to make a deal for them. If they don't make a deal, then I go back and I finish the job. But that's going to take them forever to rebuild. Already, it'll take them many years to ever rebuild. And if I go back and finish up the job, as some people would like, with the bridges, very easy. I could take out most of their bridges in less than an hour. Less than an hour. But, it takes them 10 years to build a bridge. Bridges take the longest, and power plants are second. I can knock out the power plants. Within one day, all of their power plants would be gone. And I let them know that, with negotiations. I said, look, people want me to do that. I think I get almost the same thing out of it as doing it. But the problem is they'll never be able to, I think about 91 million people without power, without bridges, would have to live. And it's a very, very delicate balance. Yeah. So I think we have a very strong position right now. They know I'm going to do that if they don't make a deal. The bridges are going to be gone. Literally in less than, I would say in 2 hours, most of the bridges, the major bridges will all be gone. And the power plants in one day.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Let me know what you all think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.